And the first ever United Kingdom champion is crowned Tyler Bate. Congratulations to you. You are now a fucking superstar. Yes, I had to cuss because it was that important. Tyler Bate came out looking like a legend after this United Kingdom tournament. Everything that WWE did right, they did it perfect. The whole tournament was amazing. Everybody involved was a superstar, from Trent Seven, even Jordan Devlin, a guy who probably wasn't going to be anything, looked like a star in this after what happened. I say that top to bottom, everybody looked great, and WWE, Triple H, William Regal, whoever was involved with this, did a stellar job on this whole tournament. And that is what is right about this. I didn't think going into it, I was very skeptical. I was like, where does this, what does that do for the WWE? What's the landscape of the WWE? Where are these guys going to go? When are they going to go to the main roster? What's going to happen? But Tyler Bate, now the champion, whatever he does after this, he is a made man. He is a star. My opinion, he should keep that title for a long time. That kid is gold. He's only 19 years old. 19 years old. What did I do wrong in my life where he's 19 and he's killing it? Top of the UK scene right now. But, I mean, he just had so many awesome things. Like, Pete Dunne is a star after this with multiple attacks. But this real story is how brilliant this was done and how awesome it was. I mean, we even had Neville and Tommy End had a match. That was awesome. I mean, there's just so many good things about this. And that's where we need to talk here, because let's not ruin this like we did with the cruiserweights. Now, I don't think that all the cruiserweights have been ruined. I think that some of them on Raw are great, but 205 Live is just not the show that it should be. Let's take a step back here and talk about WWE as a whole. These guys need to be treated like NXT. And let me tell you what NXT I mean. I mean the NXT that's in Orlando, Florida, that has their shows in Florida at the Full Sail Arena. They need to keep it like that. Keep these UK people, all the stars that were on this tournament, keep them over in the UK. Same arena maybe, whatever you want to do. Just keep them in that area and have them wrestle on a weekly show there. Make it a show that is like that. You can even tape it. It doesn't need to be live. You can do it exactly. Just follow the formula that NXT was when it first started out on the network. That's what made it popular. Do it exactly like that and you will succeed. I don't think that they need to make it be on Raw or SmackDown. That would just not... That I don't want to see that. Definitely do not want to see them on Raw or SmackDown. I want them to be their own brand. They definitely need to stay in the UK. That's one of the things that I think is a must for this going forward. If they do that weekly show, they need to do it in the UK going forward, and they need to make it the same format. There was such good storytelling in this. There were characters that were built within this. Yes, they already had their previous personalities from everything that they did in the UK before, which is awesome because those guys have worked their ass off to get where they're at. But then you just keep building the stories that they built here. Like, you could do stories in wrestling matches, like Pete Dunne, simple attacking. Like, that's all you need to do. And you have a story, a guy that you hate. Jordan Devlin, when he did the super kick after his match. That was a story. You hated him after that. And I think there was a clear thing here where I was rooting for Tyler Bate. When it started out, I wasn't sure about Tyler Bate. And near the end, I was like sold on this kid. I was like, he is awesome and I want to see him win. I was literally sitting here all by myself when my girlfriend was off in another room not paying attention. And I was screaming when Tyler Bate kicked out. I was like, no, he's still in the match. And I was rooting for this kid. Like, that is great wrestling. Like, that is why I like wrestling. If you don't know why wrestling is great, like, watch this whole tournament from start to finish. Like, the great wrestling, the athleticism, just letting them go at it, and then building these stories and these characters. And that is why I got into professional wrestling. Like, just because you get involved in these matches and you actually feel invested. Like, there's something that they captured here that they haven't captured on Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, even NXT in a while, which is just like this pure excitement for professional wrestling. And you get these characters, like, you don't know any of these guys really going into it, and I feel like I have a grasp of who these guys are. Like Wolfgang, like, that guy was awesome. He ended up breaking his nose in the tournament. Like, that's a story for you right there. And then just going forward, it's like such a cool, like, you just set him up as a character who I could get behind. Like, you built these characters within 2 days, not even, it's like 20, 48 hours? No, 24 hours pretty much. Yeah. So you think about it, I learned who these characters were, not being a huge British wrestling fan or watcher. And then I learned who they were. And I got to see them grow in 2 nights of a tournament. And now I love each and every one of them. It's like, that's something that's brilliant about what happened here. And I think that they're onto something here. At first, I was skeptical again. I was like, if they do this tournament, what's that mean for the rest of the stars? Should they do this? But now I want to see like a Japan tournament. I want to see a women's tournament. I want to see a Mexican tournament. They could do an India tournament as long as they build it like they did here and let it be exactly how it was. Seriously, this was just like the perfect tournament right there. I thought the Cruiserweight Classic was awesome, but then after the Classic, they went down, 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 down in my book because 205 Live should not be on Raw or SmackDown. It should be taped during NXT, before NXT. That's just the way I feel. I know they get that exposure, but I really don't think that it needs to be its own thing, just like the UK. The UK tournament, I think they finally figured out their success right now with this tournament is like, let it be its own thing. You don't need to mix it in. Just let it be its own thing. That's really where they are striving here and making it the best that it can be. Is just letting it be its own thing. And I think they need to continue to do that. Don't water it down. Don't mix it in. You could put it on like the pay-per-views. I'm fine with that. That's good. Like have a championship match on a pay-per-view. Like WrestleMania, they should definitely defend the UK title. But I just don't think they need to mix it in with Raw and SmackDown. They need to just keep it its own show on the network. That's where it's going to thrive in the UK because that's where the fans are. Because if it wasn't for these fans, and let's be honest, if it wasn't for the crowd and the fans knowing who all these people were, it wouldn't be such an awesome event. It wouldn't be such hype as it was because they knew who these characters were by watching them on the British wrestling scene, the independents, and they knew exactly who these guys were. Whereas if they were in America, yeah, you could probably learn Monday, Tuesday, SmackDown over weeks, building up to months, whatever. But being able to know who they are right off the bat is a cool thing. And then for them to cheer, and you know who to cheer and who to hate, and the characters were already there, the stories were already told. It was just perfect. So it's kind of like I really knew who Arya Daivari was going into the Cruiserweight Classic. So now that he's actually on Raw and he's cool, like, people are finally getting to see how awesome he is. So that's what it is. Like, these guys were already built in the UK. You have the UK audience. They know who they are. And then when we see them, the American fans or people that aren't from the UK see them, we know how awesome they are just based off of what happened. So, again, I think this was a huge success. Tyler Bate is, like, a mega awesome superstar. Hopefully they can carry the momentum forward and keep going and going and going because, honestly, like, that was awesome. And I just, like, I kept rooting for him. Like, I haven't been this invested in so long. And I don't know why I got so invested. It was just something they did here was just so perfect. And I think if they can keep going with this, they need to not stop on this momentum. They need to keep going. They need to figure out some sort of show that they're going to have. They need to announce it soon. I think you would be dumb not to continue on this momentum. I know that they're like, okay, maybe sometime our plan long term is to have a show. No, you need to capitalize on it now. You need to get the show going. You need to keep it going in the UK. And that's what they need to do. They need to introduce some more people that we don't see from the UK and just keep building on this brand. Because honestly, what they had here was magic, and they need to keep going. Because I am a huge fan of this tournament. And again, there's just, like, everybody involved is a star out of it. So hopefully we're going to see these guys, unlike the Cruiserweight Classic, where you saw the guys like Zack Sabre Jr., who you're like, okay, he's going to Kota Ibushi. Yeah, but they're not in the WWE. Hopefully they smartened up on that and got them to sign contracts where they are now WWE, because that is, like, they invest all this time and money and effort into them, and then for them to not be a part of the brand is stupid. You know what I mean? So hopefully they got, like, all the guys that were in the tournament and at least had them to an agreement where, like, okay, we will put you on a show or whatever after this, or you're exclusive to us or whatever it is. But I think that going forward, this was a great example. This is like a perfect format if you want to launch more brands, which I think they definitely should. I think that they should launch brands like in India in Mexico, in Japan. Like, they could definitely do that, and it could be a success. Just follow this format, and then take this show, right? Like I said, NXT is a perfect example. You have it be in that central area where you keep it in that one place, so the UK, and you do a show like NXT, where they did it in Florida. They had the smaller crowds. They were really hot. They get to build these stars. Then when they get good enough, they can go to the main roster. That's exactly what they need to do here. Keep them in the UK. Keep it to be these smaller crowds. Build them up. Keep them going, and going, and then it's just success. It's success right there. It's a network show that I would watch all the time. Don't water it down like 205 Live, where it's taped after SmackDown or before Raw or after Raw or whatever. Just keep it as its own thing in the UK. You know what? Here's the thing. You don't want to do an hour show every week because it would probably get expensive if you just ran one show a week. Just tape it all. Just tape it and then air it, because I'll still tune in. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this. Who was the shining star out of all this? Tyler Bate was my pick for shining star. Trent Seven was cool too. Wolfgang, awesome. Pete Dunne, awesome. So there's a lot of guys that shined out of this, but let me know who you thought was awesome out of this. What did you think of the whole tournament? And let me know what they should do going forward. Anyway, guys, as always, TonyPizzaGuy, too sweet.